I ended Tim Walz's political career.
Hello, we'd like to ask where the money's going.
Okay, well, there's something big here. I can't just make a video and say all these Somalians are committing this fraud. Eventually, the man by the name of David, who's in my video, reached out to me and said he had been investigating it for years and had received all the information from the state as to exactly how much money these daycares were receiving.
How deep is this fraud here inside of Minnesota?
It is far worse than anybody can imagine.
Within a few hours, I mean, Elon Musk was talking about it, JD Vance was talking about it. Within 7 days, it received over 4 billion views.
Holy shit.
I think it became inevitable for everyone to be involved in politics nowadays because of how controversial things are, essentially, but also like people's lives are really getting affected by a lot of these things. You cannot not speak about it. American citizens really do have a lot of power.
What's your end goal? Or do you know yet? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Sean Whalen Show. I'm excited to be here. Nick Shirley's here today. I'm excited, man. I was on Instagram the other night, saw that you were at Maverick, and just sent you a DM and said, dude, we should sit down and have a chat. And you're like, let's do it. I'm excited.
I was at Maverick, the guy just was wondering if I was
that video is pretty funny, man.
It's pretty funny.
You're that guy. How is that for you, man? Like the last 6 months, 12 months has just been absolutely wild for you. Like how's your life right now?
It's definitely changed. I mean, I would get recognized pretty much everywhere I'd go before this, but now it's literally everywhere I go.
Yeah.
I can't name a place where I haven't been recognized or people come up to me and say thanks for what I've done lately. So it's been a bit of an adjustment.
Yeah. How's that for you, like emotionally, mentally, like knowing that you have two sides of the coin now? You have people that absolutely love you and you have people that want to kick the olive and shit out of you. You're walking down the street.
Luckily, I've only met a handful of people who aren't happy with what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But 99% are people that are happy.
Yeah. I want to know like how you got into this. This is kind of like, I think for my audience and the people that follow me, like we're all 95% are like-minded, conservative, believe in a lot of the same stuff that I believe in. But I'm fascinated with how you got into this. Like what started, here's this, Mormon kid from Utah, 23 years old, 22, 21, as you're getting this thing going to Wisconsin. I mean, that was kind of the big video that exploded.
Minnesota.
Like, take us back and share with everybody, like, where did this come from? Why? How?
Basically, since I was about 15 years old, I've been making a YouTube video every single week since I was 15. I started watching YouTubers in 2017, and my older brother did YouTube, and I'd always watched YouTube growing up. And I saw like the lifestyle of these YouTubers, and I thought, well, I like to have fun. Like I can make these videos as well. So I started making videos in high school, and they're just like vlogs and pranks. And then as I grew older, I got more interested in the politics and to see how things started to work. I started listening to other people, started listening to people like Joe Rogan, Alex Jones, other large podcasts. And I started to see like, oh, stuff's kind of very interesting. The world maybe is not what we just actually see with our own eyes. Maybe there's something deeper into it. And I remember I started making more political videos or more serious videos after I graduated high school. And I noticed that when you'd post something politically, at that time, you couldn't put the name Trump in your YouTube thumbnail or in your title without that video being demonetized. And at that time, I probably had around 10 to 20,000 subscribers. And so for me, it was literally impossible to make videos on politics or to make videos on the real world, essentially. Because I mean, the pranks and the vlogs, that's all just having fun and whatnot. But talking about serious issues, you really couldn't talk about that because of censorship. And you couldn't say words like COVID, you couldn't say other words. And even today, you have to be a little careful with what you say. But I just started to see how things were, and it kind of transpired from young Nick to more mature Nick, and now to what I am doing today as far as exposing and taking on some of the biggest world issues head on.
What got you to get into politics? Because there's not a lot of kids. I mean, you follow like Jake and Logan Paul, and my son's 19. We were just talking about that. And he loves the same kind of stuff, the content. But like, what really triggered you with politics? Like, why politics?
I think it became inevitable for everyone to be involved in politics nowadays because of how controversial things are essentially, but also like people's lives are really getting affected by a lot of these things. And if you're seeing some of these shifts that are taking place inside of our country and you've seen stuff like I have firsthand, you cannot not speak about it. I remember I started going to the border in 2023 after I had finished my 2-year mission. I learned Spanish and I started going to the border to speak with migrants as they came over the border. And at that time, nobody knew that people were just actually walking over, being handed over by the cartel, and these people were celebrating them once they crossed over the border. Nobody knew that. And so I started interviewing these people as they came over the border. They were extremely excited, and I thought they were going to be running. And then I started to kind of look into how these people were coming, where they're going, how they're being moved throughout the United States. And essentially the United States was running this huge trafficking ring from the government. And so it became something so obvious that I continue to make more and more. And that's how you've seen it kind of get into where it's at now, whether it be topics of fraud, homelessness, or mass immigration, whether it be in the United States or in Europe. You're seeing the ripple effect of what governments can actually do and how they can affect a country.
What got you to go to Minnesota? Like, what was your tipping point there? Or what was like the flag that you saw, or how did you end up there?
I went to Europe. I went to London. I did a video on mass immigration, and people were talking about the rise of Islam. And I said, well, what happens there is most likely going to happen here. And so I started looking into where Islam was growing the most. And Minnesota was one of those areas where Islam was growing the most. And it was because of the Somalian population. They had been brought over into the United States, and then they, for some reason, migrated to Minnesota. So I did a video there, and when I got there, my fans saw that I was there, and they're like, oh, finally somebody's making a video on the fraud. And I said, well, what fraud is happening? And this was last June. And they told me that they're making all these daycares, they're having these assisted livings pop up next to their houses, that they can't even sell their houses and let the buyers know that an assisted living from Somalians is there. Like, there was a lot of deep corruption. And I said, well, I can't just make a video and say all these Somalians are committing this fraud. And I had people lined up to be interviewed, but they all backed out. I said, okay, well, there's something big here. Let me continue to work on this for the next few months. And then eventually the man by the name of David, who's in my video, reached out to me and said he had been investigating it for years and had received all the information from the state as to exactly how much money these daycares were receiving. And then from there, we went and made that video.
What was it like when that video went viral? I don't think there's anybody listening that probably hasn't seen it. And that was really like I went back and looked at a lot of your old stuff and old videos and going to some of the rallies and the confrontations and stuff. And I think some of that stuff's funny just because I love like just in your face kind of journalism, but also just calling people out. But what was that like for you when that video it exploded?
Yeah, so that video's literally the most viewed video of all time on the
Is
internet.
it really?
Yeah, within 7 days, it received over 4 billion views.
Holy shit.
That's within 7 days. So within 7 days, half the world population saw that video.
That's wild. What was that like for you?
It was crazy. Within a few hours, I mean, Elon Musk was talking about it. JD Vance was talking about it. All world leaders were essentially talking about it. And then those that weren't talking about it, we now know that they were somewhat involved into the fraud, or they've been enabling the fraud. So that was definitely, I knew the video was going to be big, but I didn't know it was going to be that big.
Yeah. What's been your biggest takeaway from that, like seeing that? Because I mean, your sweatshirt, support independent journalism. We were talking about before we started, just the transition in media. You know, I'm a little bit older than you and grew up with Sean Hannity's of the world, and you know, you get your info from the newspaper, and then you know the 5 o'clock news, 6 o'clock news kind of a thing. Knowing that with a cell phone, I mean, you broke the internet. You exposed something that is right in front of everybody's face. Like, talk about that for a second. Just like that median for you of understanding that your cell phone, a little bit of due diligence, has really transformed media in a lot of ways.
The video completely dismantled and exposed everything that the mainstream media was afraid of, because the video went viral on X, and X is a location where anybody can publish videos uncensored. And so I took away the idea that you need to post on to a mainstream media network. And then the video also went viral on YouTube. However, the video didn't go as viral on YouTube. It took a few days for it to get 1 million views on YouTube. X, within a few hours, it hit 1 million views. Not only did it hit 1 million views on my post alone, people were able to take that, spread it on X, and those clips is what accumulated those 4 billion views. And so it completely went to show that you actually can do stuff by yourself, and that the power is actually not in the hands of mainstream media. It's actually in the hands of independent media, and going out to different platforms and spreading it openly for the world to see.
Yeah. I think what's interesting too is, you look at what people say is misinformation. In fact, I looked up your wiki before we started. And have you looked at your wiki lately?
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
It's hilarious.
The fact that I even have a Wikipedia is pretty funny.
Well, I mean, of course you're going to, but I mean, it's open forum. It says, Nick Shirley, an American YouTuber and social media influencer, in December 2025, his video alleging fraud at a Somali-run daycare center in Minnesota went viral. The video's allegations were unsubstantiated. As of late December 2025, state officials said that the investigations had not found evidence of fraud at the sites Shirley visited. Well, I mean, how does that land with you?
Yeah, well, if you look into it, the HHS froze over $185 million in funding. To this day, over nearly 2 months later, not a single one of those daycares has sent any proof of legitimacy to receive funding. How quick would you be submitting proof of receipts?
Oh, for sure. If you were legit.
To feed children. The Quality Learning Center has completely been shut down. They've moved. And the mayor has said openly on TV that the fraud is very real. Tim Walz has alerted to it as this fraud thing. He's openly admitted to the fraud.
Yeah.
And so the fact is, like, okay, great. I went and exposed the fraud. Out of let's say I visited 10 of the daycares, say 5 of those daycares are fraudulent and the other 5 aren't. Well, good. We exposed 5 daycares, and those other 5 can go ahead and get their funding. To this point, not a single one of them have.
Wow. What's that been like for you with Tim? I mean, I love watching it from the outside, because I'm like, here's this young cat, and being a dad of, I mean, a son who's just a little bit younger than you, like, I get proud of that. I'm like, I love the resistance. Like, I love the idea that you can take on the societal norms or what the status quo is. And then, candidly, I mean, that's one of the things I like about you is you just have the cojones to do it. Very few people have the cojones to put a video up of, them playing with their dog, let alone taking on, corruption. But like, watching Tim and watching how this whole thing is unfolded, like, what's been your experience knowing, like, you really were that first domino of unleashing and opening up not just a widespread corruption and real darkness within the government, but seeing that, like, you brought that to that guy's doorstep. Like, what's it been like for you?
I ended Tim Walz's career. I ended Tim Walz's political career. He has said that he'll never run for political office ever again. And so I think it goes to show that American citizens really do have a lot of power. And when you do see something and you do catch someone red-handed, they're going to have to take accountability. And that's what we're seeing with Tim Walz. Maybe he won't admit to it, but his actions are showing that he knows that he's guilty.
Yeah. You feel a little gangster. You got to feel a little gangster with that. You're like, yeah, I was that guy. I was the guy.
It's cool, and a lot of stuff comes with it too.
Yeah.
But it is good to know that it is kind of cool to think that a 23-year-old took down Tim Walz, a career politician who was going to be the vice president if Kamala Harris had won. So I think in a way I did a good service for the country as well.
You think it's a good thing? What do you think? Like, when you look at it, there's a lot of conversation around, and I've been on social media for 11 years, and I had a bunch of videos go viral with Obama, challenging Obama and, a bunch of things like that. And I remember it was like every 30 days I was getting banned. I couldn't say the same thing you were talking about. I couldn't say this, couldn't say that, couldn't take COVID, the whole thing. You were just getting 30-day bans left and right. But like, what's your thought on that? Like, how do you see what you're doing playing the long run? Like, what's your goal with things?
I think a lot of people are seeing that the power is in the hands of the people, especially because of X and because of Elon Musk. But I mean, my plan is to continue to make the best videos I can possible and to continue to grow and inspire others. And now it's going to be a little bit harder for me to go about and do what I was doing before, because literally like anywhere I go, especially the fraudsters, they're on high alert now. Even the governors in all these states are on high alert now. I mean, I believe here in Utah, even in Utah, they just like went and did like hurry and did some quick independent auditing, or they're on high alert because in each and every single state, blue and red, there is some sort of fraud happening. And so a lot of those governors and a lot of fraudsters are scared to be the next clip on the internet being exposed.
Yeah. Is your goal to get into journalism? Is it to just get paid through social media? Like, what's your end goal? Or do you know yet?
I didn't know exactly I was going to be here this quick. So who knows where I'll be in 12 years.
What do you want to do? Like, what gets you excited?
Yeah, I think what gets me excited is just accomplishing new things and doing cool stuff, I guess. Like, I never look at this stuff as like popularity, or I never, like, people get excited about the word like having followers and stuff. That just came with it. That's never something that I actually really did it for, because I've been making these videos for literally years. That's just what came with making videos. But I think the goal overall is to just continue to build something that's bigger than myself and continue to make an impact and serve other people in whatever way it is. So whether it's 20 years from the road doing something helping young men, or whether it's being in politics or running my own business that provides for a lot of families, I think that's like, it's so unknown at this point.
Yeah. Would you want to get into politics? Now that you've seen it, would you want to get into it?
It might be a bit inevitable at this point, but it's also kind of discouraging when you go to testify in front of Congress and the congressmen that are supposed to be there don't even show up. And so you're wondering, how serious is it actually to be somebody in politics? Because I mean, Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., you literally just have a bunch of people running around Capitol Hill, and some of these people who are your congressmen don't even show up to their hearings, and they're getting paid. And so I think, though, coming at stuff from different angles is actually the way to create change. And so I think maybe if I were to eventually get into politics, I would bring that same mindset I've brought into my YouTube and videos, and I think that would help to create some sort of change.
What was that like for you going to Congress?
Pretty nerve-wracking.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So I don't think most people don't know how it really works.
How'd that all happen? How'd that come to be?
They saw the videos, obviously, and they wanted me to testify. And I was like, of course I'll testify. It's very nerve-wracking. I mean, you have to present this speech. Each person's given 5 minutes, and there's like a little timer on your microphone that nobody ever sees, and it counts down to 5 minutes. And then that's what you have to testify. You have to send in your script beforehand. And so the congressmen and congresswomen have like a day before to pretty much come up with any counterclaims for you. And then they hand it over to the other congressmen, and they have 5 minutes to question you, and you have to answer. And so I was really not sure what was going to happen, but none of the Democrat congressmen would even address me.
You're like the weapon, though. They're not going to challenge you. They're like, look, if this kid can take down, Tim, I'm not going to screw around with him because he's going to like come find the skeletons in my closet.
You think they'd want to question me? Like, they could have asked you, like, Nick, how many daycares did you go to? How many exactly did you go to? How'd you get this in numbers? They wouldn't even question me because they know how bad the fraud is.
Yeah.
In fact, they didn't question me, but they questioned the guy next to me who said I was incredible journalism, or that what I did was not truthful, essentially. But they wouldn't ask me, and I was sitting right next to the guy. Instead, they trusted some other guy.
You're like the hot potato. Nobody wants to touch it. It's like, just give it to somebody else. Like, we want this to go away as quick as possible. What was your biggest takeaway for being there in Congress, testifying in front of Congress?
Just how unserious some of these congressmen take their job. Like, I walked away, I was like, that's pretty disheartening, actually.
Yeah.
To think that these people are literally being paid by us won't even show up to do their job. Like the fact they even have an option to not show up to their hearings is pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. What would you do if you were in Congress? Like, what would you do if you got into politics? Like right here, right now. I know that you're like, I mean, you're not married, you don't have a family yet or whatever else, but like seeing how that operates, like how would you fix it?
Yeah, I would actually go out into the streets and do pretty much what I'm doing on YouTube and kind of show people exactly what's happening. And then also be there at Capitol Hill to present and to be there to do my job, but also have that side of it where you're actually going out and doing stuff. Because essentially I did more than a lot of those congressmen, or made more of an impact than they have done in all their years in office, because they actually don't go and see the stuff firsthand. When they do go to somewhere, they're letting the people know beforehand, and it's kind of like a big public display. It's like when the president shows up, it's a lot of optics. And so I would kind of remove that optics and really go show people what I'm doing inside of my community or my district that I represent, and put a different edge on it.
Yeah. What's your family think about everything?
They're very supportive of everything. Like my mom, she's even helps a lot with my videos as far as like, not like, I call her like a producer in a way, because she helps like plan or book the tickets, or if I'm going here, okay, mom, give me this, give me that, rent the rental car, do this and do that, and give me insights on what you see, or take notes of this when I'm on this phone call. And so she helps a ton with it. My dad's super supportive of it. Both my brothers are supportive of it. My little sister and my older sister are supportive of it as well.
What's been your biggest, the thing that you like the most about, and we'll say famous, I mean, you're famous, infamous, famous, whatever you want to say, like what's been the coolest part for you about the journey that you're on? I mean, having this thing blow up the way that it has.
The coolest part would just to see how big of an impact it's actually made. Like, I really don't think there's been a video that's made that big of an impact, to the point where literally every single day for these past few weeks, you've had people testifying in front of Congress, and you just see how deeper and deeper and deeper the fraud gets. And so I think that's been cool to see that really the power is in the hands of the people.
So what's your, like shifting gears for a second, this Epstein deal?
Yeah, I think
what's your take?
Like Patrick Bet-David said it really well today. He's like, yeah, this is like a black eye for the administration. Like, yeah, this is why the daycare is also why people cared so much about the fraud in Minnesota, because they're playing with kids. And so nothing we've seen so far has actually made Trump to be somebody who's like one of the evil people in the Epstein case. In fact, he's actually talked, I think in 2006 even, like said she's the evil person in all of this. I do think it's been very mismanaged. Like like why is there an email of somebody saying something about a child and Epstein's name's not blacked out, but the person is blacked out? Why don't they just remove that black lining?
Yeah.
And also, why didn't the Democrats do anything when they had the power to do it as well? So I think it kind of shows there's a lot of corruption.
Yeah. I did a video the other day, and it has gone kind of viral, where I was like kind of calling out Trump. And naturally, I mean, you understand the divisiveness of politics, and I got all these messages, people like, dude, I thought you were like Team Trump and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, I wanted Trump. I voted for Trump because he's kind of like your crazy Uncle Larry. You know what I mean? He's not a politician. He's already a billionaire. The guy already has a jet with his name down the side of it. Like, most of these other politicians come in and they're not wealthy, and then they leave wealthy, right? We all know this. This isn't a secret. This is how it's been for a long time. But knowing what's there, like, I mean, you follow along, you see, like, when we're told there's no files, there's no anything, there's nothing here. And then it's like, well, wait a second, there is. And it's kind of like what's happening now, in credit to what you've done with, you know, the daycare centers and the whole thing. It's like right in front of us now. Like, evil is right in front of us. And I know that you believe in God and I believe in God, but it's like, this isn't even about Republican and Democrat anymore. It's light and dark. It's good and bad. What's your take on Trump? What he's doing and how he's doing this, and how he's handling his leadership role as commander in chief?
I support Trump. I think what he's doing for the country has been overall good. The Epstein thing, I think that's obviously been a big problem for this administration. It was a big problem for the last administration, and it continues to be a problem for the Trump administration right now as well. I think overall, if you take the Epstein thing aside, I think they're doing a great job as far as like the border. That was a big promise. They promised us that they were going to close the border. Fentanyl deaths are down a lot. The Dow, like the Pam Bondi, that was really bad the other day. She was like, the Dow's at 50. I mean, stock market's up. If you have money in the markets, you're happy. But I like Trump. I think, like, I still think he's the person that we elected him, and who I still think he is Trump. Like, I don't think Trump's like playing any other person, any other character. The Epstein stuff's obviously just been like, come on, we need someone to step forward on this. Like, it's not going away anytime soon. Yeah,
that was kind of the primary thought of the video that I did is like, we moved past COVID. You know, Fauci's out doing whatever Fauci's doing. Like, no heads really rolled. You know what I'm saying? Where I feel like this is such a glaring black mark. And yeah, it involves kids and, you know, some real darkness. But it's like, I feel like with the exposure of social media, mainstream media, social media, the whole thing, like, we're getting to a tipping point in the country where people are like, who do we trust? What are we doing? Like, what are we legitimately doing here? What's your thought on that? I mean, you being the age that you are you Gen Xer?
I think I'm Gen Z.
How do you, or not millennial? You millennial?
No, I think I'm Gen Z.
You Gen Z? I don't even know anymore. I'm getting too old. I don't know. Anyways, you're younger than me, but what's your thought on that? Like, just from your pulse of, you're out there, you're meeting people, you're seeing people, you're talking to a lot of young people. Like you said earlier, you kind of cross over into the Fox News kind of a thing, but what's your take on where people are, like what you see, what you feel? Yeah.
Everyone's like, what is going on? I mean, for instance, my age, we can't even like afford homes. They're wondering like, why am I getting this college degree? I get out of college and I can't even make enough money to pay back my degree. Cars are $50,000 for a new car. So I think people are like, what is going on? And then we have all this other corruption going on, and people are kind of looking for someone to blame, and for who to blame for all this. So I think we're at a very interesting point, and everyone's looking for somebody to come in and do something. And it feels like at this point, like for the issues that a lot of people care about, whether it's Israel or the Epstein stuff, people are saying, well, who's going to make a difference and like go against the status quo?
What do you think that difference is? When you say difference, because this is like a hot topic. I mean, I love the debate. I love the conversation, but I think there's so many people that, I mean, my DMs blow up with guys like, dude, I'm in, let's go. Like, let's go. And I'm like, well, where are we going? Like, what are we doing? You know what I mean? We're going down to Starbucks and having a coffee and saying, yeah, this sucks. Cause we already know that this sucks. Like, we're all on board with that. But what do you think that difference is? Like, what do you see?
Like, from my experience, like going to Washington DC, a lot of the people running the government are very old. And so they're still in their ways. I think it's going to be a coming of age thing where eventually new leadership is brought in and new ideas are brought about. And I think we're seeing like the federal government is so big, even state governments are huge. They employ so many people. And I think when you employ and you have that many people trying to make a difference, it's actually harder to make a difference because you have a lot of people saying this and saying that. And so I think you need to have, I don't know how to say it, because then you need to have more people with common sense. I think nowadays a lot of like brainwashing has taken place. And so I think there needs to become a part where like Democrats and Republicans can both agree on just common sense issues.
Yeah. I feel like we're at that moment right now, in a way, from what I'm seeing. And not that we're all on the same page, but I think this Epstein thing really exposed, like, this is bad no matter what. And of course, naturally, you know, people throw the stones at Trump or they throw the stones at Biden or whoever, right? But I feel like culturally right now, everybody seems to be pissed off. Like during 9/11, after 9/11, everybody rallied. It was like everybody was on the same page. We were America first, like this whole movement, right? I feel like we're getting close to that. So the question I have is like, well, now what? Like, what do we do? Because the voting isn't
I
working.
think people need to go out and prosecute the people. And
How do you do that?
yeah, I think you need to remove some of those black lines. And also the victims is interesting. There's a lot of victims, but it doesn't seem like too many of them have like the names. And Elon Musk even said that he would fund them if they came out.
Right.
Because there needs
Defense.
he would fund their defense funds. Because a lot of these victims are probably worried that these other billionaires have too much more money that they would just sue them to death, essentially. Elon Musk said he would pay for their legal fees.
Yeah.
And so a lot of these victims need to come forward with the names and stuff too.
Yeah. When you hear the word revolution, like what do you think when you hear that?
A massive change and like an overthrowing of some sort.
I mean, the Declaration of Independence talks about it. Like, it's not only our right, but our duty, of the government. Like, do you see that happening?
Yeah, I think there's like a cultural revolution, and then people also, like, when you think of like a revolution, you think of like some massive change, like some war taking place. I think nowadays we're going to see more than ever like a cultural revolution, and we're seeing it now. Like, you have that, you're seeing a very big divide where people either go one extreme one way or another extreme another way, or they just give up.
I feel like the younger generation, I mean, I have a 19-year-old and a 16-year-old, both my sons. Like, my son is 19 and he's into the conversation. You know what I mean? There's a lot of kids that are out playing video games and whatever else, but like he and his friends, and I feel like there's a lot of young kids that are paying attention. You look online and kids are this and they're that and lazy and entitled and whatever else, but the world that I'm in, a lot of the younger generation that I see, they're paying attention, and they don't necessarily believe kind of the old timers like you're talking about. I feel like that's a huge like under brewing, if you will, of the country, that there's a lot of young people that actually give a shit way more than what we think.
Yeah, because a lot of these younger kids, they lived a very good life because their parents were able to provide them a very good life. They graduate high school, they go to college, and they have to start paying for stuff. And they realize it's very hard to make $1. And so that's when people start to look to, okay, well, I can't afford this. What's going on? Who's to blame? And if I think this person's to blame, I'm going to become they're essentially going to look for somebody to blame in a lot of ways. So that's why you see like so much anger, because it's getting harder and harder to afford those things. That's like the main thing for people my age, is like, we just want to be able to have those same opportunities that our parents had. And we want to be able to feel like we can actually afford to live our lives.
Why do you think it is that kids don't feel that way? Why doesn't this generation feel that way?
I think social media is a big thing, because when you're on social media and you're looking at people who are making money, you're seeing the 1% of people who are making that money. And meanwhile, the other 99% are trying to make that money, but because they're not part of that 1%, they're not actually making that money. And so they're part of what you just say, like the norm now, where people are trying to go get a job. They're going to offer them $25. And with a $25 an hour job, you really can't afford to do much in the United States right now.
Yeah. What do you think?
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm intrigued by, because it seems like, there's no doubt that people are angry. There's no doubt that you look around and people are pissed off. Just get online and look at what's going on with ICE and everybody else.
There's a lot of misinformation too.
Yeah. So that's what I wanted to ask you about, is because there's a lot of, I think the last statistic I looked at is that the average adult in America is on social media 4 hours a day. It's unfathomable to think that there's that much power being put in people's brains. And I really feel like right now, when I was a kid, Tom, we were talking about this, like we just rode our bikes up and down the streets. Like, there was no social media. There were, it was a completely different mental game. And you look at like the rise of mental health, and you look at a lot of kids are struggling. Like, they're really angry. Kids are angry. They're pissed off. And I don't know that people really know who they're pissed off at.
Yeah, they're like trying to find somebody. That's kind of the point I'm trying to get. They're trying to like find something to get pissed off about.
Yeah. Why do you think that is, and how do we change that? And by we, I mean like as a collective.
people need to start taking accountability for themselves and realize we all have the same 24 hours a day. If you're spending 4 hours on social media every single day, you're probably not going to accomplish what the other person's doing who's out knocking doors for 8 hours a day, going to make money.
Why do you think it is that so many kids don't understand that? I mean, you could bring it to the parents as a dad. Like I'm a big personal accountability, personal responsibility guy. It's what I've ingrained in my kids. And I feel like there's a big separation between generations, like my generation and the younger kids. But like, why do you think it is that kids are so in that mindset right now?
A lot of kids were never forced to do hard things growing up. Everyone got the participation ribbon, the participation trophy. There weren't that high of standards for us growing up. Like in schools, it was never like, okay, it was never a thing to really try to excel, because it felt like if you were succeeding in a lot of cases, then you'd get victimized or you'd get in trouble for doing well versus the other person. Like you were more normalized to be average. The person who was average fit in more than the person who didn't. I remember in high school, every single week I was making these videos. And I remember I would go through like hell and back from parents and from kids in school, like getting made fun of for making these videos, for like trying to do something. And it felt like the people that were trying to do stuff, like it's very, very lonely to go out and actually do something. Most people don't understand that. Like you're going to lose a lot of friends trying to outachieve them. And so I think that's one of the reasons why nowadays you're seeing so many people who are like, have their hands in the air, because they're like, what do I do? Because they were never forced to do hard things, or they never felt like they needed to do those hard things, because then maybe they'd have to separate from that group of friends in order to achieve something that they weren't achieving.
What would you say to those kids? I mean, there's a lot of kids right now that are struggling. Like there's a lot of kids in that demographic. I see it. I mean, I'm grateful because my kids are surrounded by other like-minded, they're out there hustling. They're out there doing their thing. Like we spoke life into them. We were like, no, you came in second place. You don't get the first place trophy. You get the second place trophy because you didn't run fast enough or go big enough. But like, what do you say to those kids, and especially the younger generation? Because I feel like there's such a huge disconnect in, you don't get me. Like you don't understand what it's like. And I remember as a kid, my dad would say stuff like, well, I'm just, why, Dad? Well, because I'm the grown up and you're not. And I feel like there's such a huge disconnect in that reality of what people that are older are trying to inspire these kids to do. But as somebody younger, 23 years old, like, what do you say to these kids? And legitimately, like, how do they, for lack of better words, grab life by the balls and get out of this victim mindset?
The most important thing a young man can do is become his own best friend, become his number one cheerleader, become his number one motivator, and to become the person he aspires to be. I learned that the hard way when I literally got kicked out of my friend group for making these videos. I had to become my own best friend. I had to go on these trips on my own. I had to go make these videos on my own. And because of that, I became my own best friend. And I realized it's only me that can make the difference. It's only me that can do what I want to do. I actually don't need a person to go to the movie theater with me if I want to. I can go by myself. I don't need somebody to go with me on that flight, to go to that location. I can actually go by myself. And so when you feel like when you feel like you need somebody to be there in order to do something, you're never going to win. Like you have to be able to do stuff by your own.
Yeah. Why did your friends kick you out of your friend group?
There was a lot of things that went on. I think it was more so push from the parents. Like I got pushed out because the parents thought I was a bad influence on their kids.
Really?
Yeah, but in reality, the parents just didn't like their kids.
Being exposed to truth?
Yeah, not even so much that. It was just like I guess the parents didn't know that their kids were actually doing what they were doing. Like we would just go have fun, and maybe my friend would say a swear word or something, and I'd keep that in the YouTube video. So like literally I got kicked. I remember one day coming home, or I remember one day at school going out to get in the car to go to lunch with my friends, and all of a sudden they just drive off. And I said, well, what the heck just happened? And it was literally because the kid's mom said that, like, you cannot hang out with Nick. And because that because that friend, he lived in that same neighborhood with all the other kids. Like it was either be friends with Nick or you lose 5 friends. And so obviously like I got left behind and I had to go create new friends and I ended up doing just a lot of stuff on my own. And most people don't even realize that, or like those friends probably still don't even realize that happened because they didn't have to feel it and see it. But it was actually a great thing for me because it made me become my own best friend. It made me have to go and do stuff by myself. Like I literally think that's the greatest thing that can happen to a teenager, is to learn to become their own best friend.
That's one of the things that I loved about my mission, my Mormon mission. I went to Montana. You went to Chile, right? You're out, gone from the normal day to day. Mom's not making your bed anymore. You got to cook your own food, kind of a thing. Do you think that your mission had a big impact on you in that way?
My mission did, but I also waited to go on my mission. Like I didn't really want to go.
Yeah.
And so I was 19 when I went. And before that I had lived on my own, I had moved out. I had done YouTube in LA. I had done door-to-door sales in Florida. And so I kind of already had like independent mindset that like, okay, I need to do stuff on my own. And so going on my mission more so helped me get like perspective on the world. And that's kind of like what also led me to do videos on migration, because I saw like a lot of migrants and living in Chile and stuff. So I think more so than anything, my mission like gave me perspective.
How does your faith play into your life right now?
My faith, the most important thing to me is to just like live in a way where I'd feel happy if God saw me tomorrow or saw me today. And so I think like what I do now, I'm still active in the church and everything, but it's just living to be somebody that I'm proud to meet God. So everything I do, I'm not trying to do something where I would feel guilty.
What would you say to kids, or anybody for that matter, who are, I don't know, people refer to it as like a faith crisis, right? Like I without question see God being extracted and removed from, dang near everything nowadays. What would you say to people, and what advice or counsel would you give to people who might be going through a faith crisis, or even people that are wanting to find faith?
I had a very interesting conversation with a person who's very popular on social media for being Christian. And it was very interesting because he told me straight to my face that I was not Christian. And I said, whoa, I'm a Christian. And he challenged me on my faith and on my religion and everything. I said, no, I'm Christian. And I said, I'm never going to push my religion on you. I think the most important thing for most people these days is to learn that they can have a connection with God and with Jesus, and that if anything, they start from a prayer or just to learn that he's real. Like that's the most important thing. And so I think when people have these faith crises or they have these issues, like I haven't gone through a faith crisis, but I think a lot of young people and just people in general, we sometimes forget that we really can't just like talk to him, or just to feel that he's actually there is something important. And just start with like the very small stuff. Like I think like on my mission, one of my favorite memories ever was just seeing a little kid pray for his first time. And he was just like smiling. He just had like this biggest smile. He's like, I feel like I'm flying. And I'll never forget that. So I think like when that kid told me I wasn't a Christian, I said, whoa, I'm a Christian. I'm never going to tell you to be my religion. If you want to learn more, I'll tell you more. But I think the most important thing we can do with our influence is just let people know that he's real.
Yeah. One of my favorite quotes is, live your life so that those who know you but don't know Christ want to know Christ because they know you. I feel like nowadays, especially with social media, like I'll post scriptures from the Bible, from the Book of Mormon, from, everything. And people will always like fire back, the Book of Mormon, the whole thing, like it's not this. And Joseph Smith was a weirdo. And I'm like, he probably was a weirdo. I was like, so was the guy that parted the seas and grabbed a stick and it turned into a snake, and the burning bush and all that other stuff. But I feel like right now there's a real movement of God, I guess is the simplest way to put it. Like, I feel like there's a very, very, very real spiritual war happening in in our country. We're trying to normalize things that shouldn't be normalized. And I think that there's like this huge battle, like a little spiritual battle. Do you see that when you're out? Do you feel that?
A lot of people, you're seeing the emptiness of nothing, and like what replaces that? All these other ideologies, all these other things. Like the idea of wokeness is essentially the idea to remove God from everything. The idea of that a man can be woman means that God made a mistake, but God's the truth.
Yeah.
So wokeness is kind of the idea of wokeness really is the idea of just removing God and filling it with something else.
Yeah.
And so you are seeing that divide. Like if you go ask any of those, if you ask a large portion of those people that are yelling at ICE agents, when's the last time they went to church, or the last time they had a family meal, or when's the last time they said a prayer? Most of them couldn't answer. And so you're seeing that's part of the big issue right now, is you're seeing wokeness, which is essentially the idea of removing God and filling it in with something else, kind of getting the brains of a lot of people.
Yeah. As the saying goes, idle time is the devil's workshop. I feel like do you feel like you're doing missionary work?
Not really. I feel like I'm just doing, like, to me, it just feels like I've been doing what God wants me to do, I guess.
Yeah. Isn't that missionary work?
Yeah, I guess in a way it is, but I'm not like pushing people to believe in something. I'm more so giving people the opportunity to indulge and then create their own opinions off of what they see.
I think it's an interesting conversation. I had a chat with a good buddy of mine the other day, who runs a program called Wake Up Warrior, and he works with men and coaches men. And we were talking about this in the sense that, I mean, I think you're doing missionary work. I legitimately do, because in the end of the day, like, awareness, truth, and it's you. I think this is something that's really fascinating that I would love more Christians, and I don't care if you're Baptist, Mormon, whatever else, to understand that, like, how we operate, how we live, what we do, why we do it, when we do it, is all a representation. And that quote, I think, is really, really powerful in the sense that, like, if you're living your life and the people around you don't know Christ, like, they want to know more because of just you. Like when you and I put the black name tags on, like, we were ordained ministers and went door to door, and there's the Mormons, and we had one job and one goal and one mission, which was like bring people and teach them, you know, the restored gospel and the whole thing. But I absolutely think right now that there are a lot more people out there doing missionary work that don't really understand it and realize it. And I think that's a really powerful thing. I think that's the reason the adversary, in my opinion, is rearing his head so powerfully right now, is because that there's a literal war happening between good and evil. And like, what you're doing, in my opinion, is without question missionary work.
Yeah, well, you're seeing how evil the world is. I mean, they killed Charlie Kirk.
Yeah.
Not far from here. Who was he? A Christian man who was spreading the truth, and they killed him.
Yeah. Like,
they're actively trying to kill people as well. Like, I have to have security with me now because people have openly said they want to kill me too.
How's that land for you? How's that feel?
It's not fun. I don't enjoy it. Like, not being able to go out or feel like you can go out and do stuff is not the funnest thing in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I understand why a lot of famous people don't like to go out anymore.
Yeah. How's that on your dating life?
It's not been good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get into too much, but I like went on a date with this girl. Things were great. Things were happy with her. And then she liked it, but then her parents didn't like it. And I was like, yeah, I understand.
You just keep getting kicked out of all the friend circles, man.
Yeah. So that was interesting. But yeah, it's not the funnest thing, honestly, to have to like plan everything. Okay, I'm going to be here for this long, be there for that long, stuff like that.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're doing a bigger work though? And I'm not just talking about like with the government and exposing, you know, daycares and stuff. Do you feel like you're doing a bigger work?
I think so. Everything I've done, I haven't really planned this out. I never planned to necessarily be here. I just took the steps, and then those steps led me to where I'm at now. And so I feel like I have been on like the path that God has wanted me to get on. I feel like I am in line with that. And hopefully as I continue to make those steps, I continue to walk in the path.
Nice. What would you say to the younger generation? In fact, my son wanted me to ask you a question. He said, he's 19. So all of his friends were super hyped about sitting down and talking to me. He said, what can the next generation, his generation, do to speak up and fight back against the government and speak for our freedoms?
I think the most important thing is to think with common sense. If things don't sound right or don't feel right, there's probably something that's not right about what's going on. And so when you know you're at least seeking for the truth, you shouldn't be afraid to voice your opinion. And so a lot of these things you're seeing now happen. For instance, a lot of these protesters, like the brainwashing has got so bad to where the point where they actually can't have common sense. If you ask them like, oh, you're mad at them for deporting an illegal migrant, what's the word illegal mean? It breaks their whole entire logic.
Right.
And so I think the most important thing is to know when you're doing something, like think critically and have common sense about how you do it, because you know you can't go wrong when you're working for the truth.
Talk to people about overcoming fear, because I know that no matter how much something goes viral and how cool it is, and 95% of people could think that you're, the man, there's also fear involved with that. Like you get nervous about posting certain things or saying certain things or doing certain things. I know, because I'm still in that space. I mean, I've got over 1 billion views in my videos in the last 10 years. And even though it's gotten a lot easier to create content and to put content out there, there's still that fear. And I think that fear is what really keeps people from jumping and getting into stuff. So talk about that for a minute.
Not everyone's a content creator, and not everyone should be a content creator.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't be fearful when you're doing something that you believe to be true. And like fear, I fear sometimes too. But at the end of the day, it's like, well, if I'm not going to do it, someone else will. And if I'm not going to do it, somebody needs to. So it might as well just be me.
If you could wave a magic wand, change the entire game, the entire government, what would you do? How would you do it?
Get rid of all fraud. Literally, if we got rid of all fraud here in the United States, everything would be a lot better, obviously, but we'd all be able to live in a way better situation. We wouldn't have such high prices. We wouldn't have such high corruption. You wouldn't have so much distrust. If we could eliminate fraud, which 3 to 7% of all tax dollars goes towards fraud here in the United States,
Wild.
we would live in a lot better circumstance, and we'd live in maybe a lot more peaceful country, because money really is the root of all evil. And that's why you're seeing all this fraud take place, because people are enriching themselves with the fraud. And that just leads to more evilness and more secrecy. And that's why you saw stuff like what you're seeing right now in the government, is because of money and fraud was involved.
Yeah. What are you afraid of? What's your biggest fear?
Biggest fear? I don't know. I don't really have a biggest fear. I don't like spiders. I don't know. Biggest fear? I don't know. What's your biggest fear?
My biggest fear is knowing that God put ideas in my brain and passion in my soul, and I squandered it. I didn't do anything with it because I was worried what people would say about me. Like laying on my deathbed. You ever visioned your death?
Sometimes.
I've like visioned my death many times, and I just have this fear of laying there knowing that I could have done things and should have done things, and I didn't, because I was worried about somebody judging me on social media or losing money or falling flat on my face or whatever else. Like I have like nightmares about that, which is why I think I live the way that I do and like push the envelope the way that I do. Cause it's like at some point in time, the game's going to be over. Like that's the one certainty. My ticket's going to be punched. I can't think of anything more terrifying other than something happened to my kids than knowing that like I had a chance and an opportunity, and like God woke me and you up today to do something. And it's not to just be a lazy sack of sitting around and playing video games all day long. Like, he woke me up today for a reason. He gave me a mission. He gave me a purpose. And if I don't do that, you know, how terrible of an idea would it be to be laying there going, dude, you wasted your life.
Yeah, I think we all kind of fear that. I think my biggest fear would be to like not have, like when I die, for no one to be there. Like for not to have like a bunch of kids or a wife, or I think that'd be like something I'd fear. It's like you die and no one's there.
Do you want family?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to have like a big old family.
Yeah.
I think that'd be nice.
You're gonna have to have a lot of security.
Yeah, we'll see how that works. Will I just get more and more famous, or will it die down? Hopefully it doesn't die down.
Yeah. You kind of don't want it to.
No.
I agree with you that not everybody should be putting out content, but I also think that more people need to speak up. And I think more people need to share like how they feel and what they feel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it can be done in a different way. Like it could be done individually. Like there's a lot of people that just need that help individually. And if they're getting all their news, like most kids these days are getting more information from somebody they listen to on their phone versus their own father, or versus their own mother, or versus their next door neighbor who could really be a great helping hand for that individual. And so I think a lot of things, if we want to create real change, needs to be like individuals helping individuals versus one person on a screen talking to a million people.
Yeah. I think that we're going backwards in a lot of ways. I think technology has advanced so fast and it's gotten so big and so robust and so powerful that we collectively are missing that face-to-face. We're missing that connection, you know, and it's like, how do you bridge that gap? You can't do it with a screen. I mean, you're never going to be able to do that. And I feel like I'm very much in alignment with you, like on family and like dinner time and sitting down with your family and having the connection, having the conversation, without question, creating that human dynamic. Cause now we're just in this completely digital world where our dopamine is based off of this 6-inch screen in our hands. You know what I mean? And that dopamine is dictated by people that probably don't have your best interest.
Yeah. If I wasn't making content, I probably wouldn't use social media.
Yeah.
Like it'd be best to maybe give an hour of your day. I definitely want to be doom scrolling.
What would you be doing if you weren't exposing daycares and going to the border and getting into fights in protest?
I'd be building some sort of business.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think like being a founder would be very cool.
Yeah. Well, you're going to monetize this and turn this into something. What are you going to turn this into?
Yeah, I'm building it out. Like I have a lot of ideas and thoughts right now of how I want to build it out, and that will come. But like if I wasn't doing social media, I would do something. I'd probably try to do something in not a startup. I guess it would be a startup.
Yeah.
I could probably start something up.
When you're not doing content, when you're not there exposing stuff, what do you like to do?
Really, my entire life these past 2 years has been consumed of filming, editing, and traveling. And so I really don't get that much time to do any other thing.
Yeah. If you weren't doing those 3 things, what would you be doing?
Well, I'd be working, obviously, but I go to the gym a lot. I'd probably pick up some other hobbies as well. I do want to learn how to hunt. I've never gone on a hunt before.
You should go hunting, dude. I mean, you live in the middle of the Rocky Mountains, you know?
I know. I feel like that'd be something really fun to get into.
Archery or rifle?
Both.
Both?
I think a rifle would be sick.
Yeah. Hunting's rad.
But literally for the past 2 years, I have not missed an upload for the past, like this is when I kind of go back to that point of like becoming your own best friend, and to be actually like create something different, you have to learn to be by yourself for a long period of time.
Yeah.
For the past 2 years, every single week, I've uploaded some sort of video, and most of that in some sort of video over 10 minutes. Like I've created a documentary every single week for the past over 100 weeks at this point.
Isn't it wild that you taught yourself most of this, right?
Yeah.
Like you didn't go to school for film or editing or anything like that. Like, isn't it wild to think that you just pick up a laptop, go to YouTube now with ChatGPT and the whole thing? I mean, you can learn how to film, edit, process, upload, the entire thing.
Yeah. And you just have to keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like no one taught me how to edit when I was 15 years old. My brother gave me a few tips, but it was me working on some family laptop that we had at our house.
Yeah. I think that's what's cool about your story and watching you is, you hear a lot about social media is bad and media is bad and cell phones are bad and it's destroying people's lives. And there is validity to all of that, but there's also a lot of good being done. Like there's a lot of good, positive, solid messaging being promoted. You know what I mean? And it's like any other tool. I mean, you can use a tool to use a hammer to build a house, or you can use a hammer to, beat the crap out of your little brother if you want to. You know what I'm saying? But I think social media and media in general, like your cell phone, it can make you millions. It can make you smart and it can bring you closer to God. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's inevitable. Like everyone has to learn how to use it.
Right.
And maybe they don't have to consume it as much, but everyone has to learn how to navigate it.
Yeah.
And like, if you can learn how to navigate media, you can have a lot more power and a lot more control of your own life if you can manage it well. Like to the kid that's like doom scrolling 4 hours a day,
dude,
8 hours a day,
you're screwed.
He's cooked.
Oh yeah.
But the kid that's watching YouTube and learning about AI or learning about this and that, he's going to be in a lot better spot.
Yeah. My son's 19 and he called it the Whalen Protocol. And he sent me this huge white paper that he wrote about AI. And I didn't even realize that he was that into it. I mean, he's out doing door-to-door sales in California, selling solar. And I was blown away. And the fact that there are kids in this generation that when we had internet, you had to go as AOL and dial up and cross your fingers that would even connect to the internet. Now, it's moving so fast and there's so much potential and so much opportunity. Like, I feel like that's only good. You know what I mean? It's so possible to be able to create something that can change the world. You know what I mean?
In everywhere in the world, people are doing stuff that changes the world because of technology.
Yeah. What's something people don't know about you? Everybody sees you out there running around doing the videos. Like, what's something that people don't know about you?
When I was 4 years old, the doctor thought I was paralyzed. I had driven a four-wheeler off a cliff. And the doctors, it's a miracle that I'm not paralyzed today. The doctors thought I was paralyzed when I was 4 years old because I had broken my legs.
Really?
Yeah, so that's something that most people wouldn't know.
What else? What other crazy story? What's the craziest thing that you've seen being out and about, doing what you're doing over the last 2 years? The craziest thing, it was so crazy, very few people would even believe it.
I saw a dead person die in San Francisco, on the streets of San Francisco, and I watched a little kid walk over the dead person.
Ugh.
And he had no idea what was going on. That was pretty shocking and disturbing to see.
Huh. You probably see a lot of darkness out there.
Yeah, when I go somewhere, people are like, oh, you're so lucky you get to travel and all this. I'm like, I'm going into the belly of the beast in most locations.
Yeah.
I've seen the worst of the worst, and I've also seen the best of the best. I've been on the streets of Kensington, Philadelphia. I've also been inside the White House.
Yeah.
And I've been in some of the most poorest locations, and I've been in the Hollywood Hills with people who are rich but have nothing, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been able to see the world in a lot of different perspectives.
Are you optimistic?
I am optimistic about the world. I think if we all could come to more and have more common sense, I think we'd be in a lot better spot. And I think people are the more and more you try to show the craziness, or the more and more people see how crazy the world's getting, it's kind of chiseling down, how crazy can stuff get? And eventually people are gonna be like, oh, okay, let's start thinking practically now.
It is pretty.
But I don't know, actually. I think times are just gonna get maybe even worse.
Yeah.
I feel like it's inevitable. Until Christ comes again, I think the world's just gonna get crazier and crazier.
Yeah.
I feel like Utah's a pretty safe spot, though.
Well, that's because everybody's got guns.
You go all
guns and food
country.
storage. Everybody's got food storage, so there's tons of food, and everybody's got a gun. So
I used to not really want to live in Utah, and then I went all across the country, and then you come back to Utah.
You're
and
yeah, I like it here.
Utah's nice.
Yeah, this is solid.
But it's just so boring. Nothing's happening.
Oh, I love that. I don't disagree with you, man. I've traveled all over the world. I've seen incredible places, and there's lots of places that are fun to go to, but there's just something special about this place I really like.
Yeah.
You know?
Utah's great. It's just so boring sometimes.
Yeah.
It feels
That's why
like
you get to go
everyone's
and
like
travel.
stuck in a little box. It's
Yeah.
like, what's going on? But that's why it's Utah, why it's so chill.
Yeah. There's advantages to everywhere. I think that's one thing that, you know, I talk to a lot of people. I've been blessed to coach a lot of people. And they're like, well, I'm going to go over here because it's going to change this, it's change that. It's like, you're going to build whatever world you want wherever you are. Like, it doesn't matter where you move in America, you're going to have an asshole neighbor and you're going to have a cool neighbor. Doesn't matter whether in Utah, whether in Virginia, you know, whatever else. I really feel like I like what you said about being on your own. And I kind of relate that to creating self-worth, like really understanding who you are and what you are. And I think that's what's one of the things that's really missing in our culture and our society right now is people getting to know who they really are. And we're so sedated and just distracted by who everybody else is, what everybody else is. I feel like that real opportunity for us, like you went through, is just figuring out like, who am I? Like, what do I want to do with my life? Like, let me pursue something because I want to pursue it versus, well, this is what mom and dad said, or this is what my friends are doing, or, you know, whatever else.
Most kids just go and do what their friends are doing.
Yeah.
Like I remember graduating high school and it was like, everyone's going on a mission. That's like, well, like, I know it's probably the thing I should do, but like, let me like think about it before I just go and do it.
Yeah.
Or like, there's all these other things. It's just like, kids just go and do it. It's like, no, like you can think for yourself for a sec. You don't need to go with the rest of the pack. Like sometimes it's all right to be the lone wolf.
Yep.
And you can still go back to the pack, but your mission's not their mission. And that's kind of how I live my life. Like I still keep in contact with my friends, but they're on their own different mission. I'm on my own mission. And if they're distracting me from that mission, I'm not going to be able to spend as much time with them to accomplish my mission because I got something important I got to do.
What do you think the mission is that you're wanting to accomplish?
Like if you were asking me like my mission statement, I would say it's to show the reality of things as they really are. And so that's what I try to do every single week on YouTube and across social media, is just show people what's actually happening in the world.
I think that's what's cool about what I've been watching with you is it's really easy to put a bias on something, especially nowadays. Like you're Republican, you're Democrat, you're this, you're conservative, you're liberal. But what I like about what you're doing is like, this is what it is. Like, this is what's happening, right? I think this is the reason so many people are so fired up about this Epstein thing right now. Cause it's like, we know that this is happening. It's proven. Here's the evidence, right?
Bill
Now
Gates'
what?
wife's talking about him having weird stuff with Russian girls.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, it's not even hidden, right? And I
No.
think the truth, you know, what's done in the dark will be brought to the light. And I think that's what's really cool is, like you said, someone's got to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Someone has to at some point in time. So it might as well be you. It might as well be, you know.
Like you can't sit down and complain about it if you're not going to actually do something about it.
For sure.
Like there's so many people that just complain and complain and complain, but they don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So if you're going to complain about something, for the amount of time you're going to complain about something, you need to spend that amount of time doing something about it.
Yeah.
Because literally, think about how much time people just sit and complain. They don't do anything.
Hell, that's what most people do online. I mean, all day long.
Yeah.
You know? Where do you see, I'm just curious, with your age and your demographic, like where do you see AI going in the next little bit? I'm sure you've probably integrated it into what you do and your editing and your filming and stuff like that. But like, where do you see AI and robotics and all this other stuff going?
I think it's cool. I think people need to learn how to use it because it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I've said the word inevitable a lot in this podcast, but
Sure.
It's inevitable that you need to learn about AI and learn how to use it. It really can be a big advantage if you can use it. And you need to think about what career fields are going to use it more than a human and what careers are still going to need a human, especially all these kids going to college right now. I'm like, oof.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
for
why
sure.
you're getting that degree.
Dude, I don't know why anybody goes to college now. Unless you're going to be like a doctor or a lawyer, it's like, what's the purpose of spending $100,000 in 5 years of your life when you could literally go online and learn the exact same stuff in a week?
Yeah. And I think like once people get a grasp of like how money works too. It's like, ooh, that $100,000 over 5 years isn't really worth much.
You know what the average age is that people pay off their student debt in America?
I do not.
42.
Yes, that's another thing. So many people are living lives like so outside of their budgets. I'm like, dang, because I go all across the country. I'm like, how are people, like, how is everyone living? Most people are in debt. Like, I've done so many videos and so many studies, like more than 50% of Americans are in debt, but they're driving a nicer car than I am. I'm like, what's going on? Like, a lot of our system's upheld by people who are in debt, or not necessarily upheld by people who are in debt, but a lot of the money's used as money that's actually not theirs, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. Like, most people actually don't have the money they're spending.
You should go do a video on the banking system and on arbitrage and how the banks leverage capital and stuff like that. Most people have no clue. Most people have no idea how the financial systems really work.
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah. It's a rabbit hole.
School doesn't teach you about that either.
What's that?
And school doesn't teach you about that either.
Not even close. Most kids graduate. I mean, checkbooks are, I can't really knock them because I barely know how to balance a checkbook, but like, I haven't written a check in a long time, but like most kids, most people don't have any economic capitalistic sense whatsoever. It's just kind of like I push a button on my phone and the food shows up. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how it is. Mm-hmm. I've never had to go up in the mountains and shoot something, get blood on my hands, bring it back and like put it in the freezer kind of a thing. Like, you know, I just took dad's credit card for 10 years and just put it in a thing and that was it. Like, I didn't ever have to create or produce or do anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you talk about savvy financial things and it's like, wait, what are we talking about here? Like most people, and I wouldn't even say kids, most people have no clue how it really works. I mean, I think the last statistic I read was like 71% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a lot of people are dependent on like programs of welfare as well.
Yeah.
So that's another thing that pisses me off when I see so much fraud taking place.
Oh.
And then like so much fraud, so many people living off the government, and that money could be used in a lot better ways.
Oh yeah. Well, that's you're creating a generation of sheep. You know, that's the reason like my company and brand, like we talk about that fierce independence, getting out there, building your own thing, cutting your own teeth, like, you know what I mean? Versus relying on somebody else to save you. You know what I'm saying? So what's next for you, man? Like what's cool coming up? Don't tell us all the secrets that you have coming. I won't tell anybody. It's just for us, just for the people listening. But what do you got coming up? Like what's next? What's exciting for you?
So I have a lot more videos planned with this Minnesota stuff. It kind of took off in a way where I wasn't expecting it to kind of completely shift my life around. So I had like a bunch of videos I had already filmed before this, but now those are all on the back burner. But I've started to work on new videos in like California. There's so much fraud in California. Like if you want to get a good estimate on the fraud in California, in 2026, their budget for Medi-Cal is $220 billion, about $220 billion. In 2025, it was $196 billion. And so where did $20 billion come from? Like that's not a small amount of money. Mm-hmm. And actually, people are leaving that state unless people are getting put onto Medi-Cal. So how is just $20 billion getting sent there? And they said there was $500 million in fraud. And so how only is 0.2% of that actually fraud when we know that 3 to 7% of all taxes go to fraud? So there's a lot of fraud in California. Like that's just a rough estimate of those numbers. But so I have more stuff coming from California, and then there's also more states and more locations. It's going to get a little bit harder to expose some of this fraud because now all the fraud.
Yeah, when you walk in, everybody's like, "Oh shit!
Oh yeah,
here he is."
You should have seen the people in California because I already filmed one of the videos. The lady was like, "I'm naked." We're like, "What you doing naked at the daycare?" She was not naked.
You got to grow a beard or a mustache. You got to start putting on disguises.
I'll probably have to like do something. I don't know. I need to figure out how to like get one of those like silicone masks that look really real.
Dude, if you can take Newsom down, there's going to be a lot of people that really like you. Like you'll be a national treasure. You'll have like Martin Luther King Day, and you're going to get your own freaking holiday.
Yeah, I mean, seriously. So, I mean, that guy has destroyed that state.
Yeah.
I mean, over $1 trillion have left over the idea of just taxing billionaires.
Yeah. You know who calls him out a lot that I love is Grant Cardone. You got to link up with Grant Cardone and figure that out, because he's not a big...
Well, do you know they're taxing people for every mile they drive in California?
It's insane, bro. It's insane.
Per gallon, they're adding an extra $1 30% tax.
It's wild.
So like gas there's like right here in Utah, it's like $2.50 to $3. In California, it's around $5 because they add on another $1.30.
Yeah. Taxes is a rabbit hole.
There's another millionaire tax. They actually just added like another sales tax, so it's like 10%.
Yeah.
Like living in California, it's amazing, but it's also just crap hole. Like you can't beat California, like the blue skies, the scenery. It's just a mess. South Florida is where it's at. That's where I want to live.
Well, that's what God woke you up to do. He's like, Nick, get out here and change the world. Fix it. Fix the problems. Link arms with a bunch of other freaking whack jobs like that want to change the world, and let's go change the world, you know?
Exactly. That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, I love it. I love the work you're doing. What would you say if you could leave one? We could talk forever, and we'll do a follow-up with you on the California and all of your adventures and stuff. But if you could leave one message with the world, if like this was the last sentence that you were ever gonna, all right, what would it be?
Do what you feel, trust your gut, and realize those instincts, those feelings aren't just from you. There's something propelling you to do something. So go out and do that.
Hell yeah. You made a mention earlier about working with young people. I think that you're working with a lot more young people than you probably know. I know that like my kids follow you, and that there's a lot of young people that are watching what you're doing. And I actually like that. I'm for it. There's a lot of people that say that our young kids are, there's no leaders, there's no this, there's no that. Like you have a massive megaphone, and you're not only making a difference in DC and politics and, things along those lines, but I know that if my son's watching your stuff and consuming your stuff, like I know how good of a kid he is. So, tip of the hat to you, man, for having the balls to do what you do and step out in front of the world and do stuff that is scary, that is alienating. I mean, knowing that there's people that don't like you, that want to kill you just because you want to tell the truth. It's a terrifying reality, but at the same time, it takes giant freaking huevos to do that. So hats off to you, bro. Seriously.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's fun, a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure, but it's good.
Yeah. Anything else you want to share with everybody before we wrap this up?
No, I think that's it.
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else you want to talk about.
I want to talk about everything, man. We could go. This is the kind of conversation you have over some cigars. I know you're not a cigar guy, but you can sit for hours and just chop it all up. But I think I'm excited by what you're doing, and we'll obviously put all your links in the podcast and stuff. It's not hard to find you online, but keep going, man. Keep going. Keep exposing. Keep kicking some ass. You know what I mean? Once you have to get 2 or 3 or 4 security, now you're playing in the big leagues. You know what I mean?
Just wait when I have to go film. You have to get a lot.
I might have to come out with you one of these days, because that would be hilarious, man. I would love to come out.
Filming is getting harder and harder. When I went to California last time, even when I went back to Minnesota, you had to get 3 security guards. As soon as you show up to a location, people swarm you. Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
I'm like, I got a job to do. And you can't even do it. It's getting kind of hard.
Start getting some costumes. Get a couple other like A and B players, you know what I mean? Get a couple other guys that are willing to put their neck out there like you, and you just direct them. You can like put the earpiece and be like, okay, go over and say this, go do that. And then they won't even recognize them.
I know. I need to up my production value, which is hard.
Yeah. Dude, what's crazy to me is how much damage you can do and good you can do with a cell phone. Just a cell phone.
Yeah, the iPhone's the best camera.
It's insane. I did one video the other day. It's got 15 million views in 3 days with an iPhone.
Whoa.
It's wild. Absolutely wild. Mind-bending what you can do. So anything else you want to share?
No, just be on the lookout for new stuff.
Glad we connected. Thanks for stopping by and chatting. And I'm sure we'll chop it up again. And maybe what we'll do is we'll do like little field trips with Nick and go out there and see all the crazy shit you get yourself into.
Just go down to North Salt Lake.
I think that'd be fun. I'd love to do it.
Go down to Salt Lake. There's some crazy stuff going on there.
Yeah.
Over, I think it's on State Street. What street is it? There's like its own little skid row.
That's wild. Well, guys, if you want to go on a field trip with Nick, don't message him because he's going to say no. But share the podcast, leave some comments, share some likes if you wouldn't mind. And dude, until next time, get out there, be safe, have fun, and go kick some ass.
Will do.
Thanks for listening, guys. Appreciate you. Talk soon.